This needs to be talked about. There are a lot of lies about Ukraine coming from mainstream media, but this is by far the worst one of them all. Now, this time I'm not going to read out any of these articles out loud. I'm just going to post various links in the video description. You can check them out if you want, but I am just going to discuss the content of these articles. And once again, I am going to say that I am doing this, recording this video, because I want people to remember what an utter dumpster of sewage Western mainstream media has become, and the utter ridiculousness of the lies that they propagate on a daily basis needs to be remembered, and the individuals responsible need to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable because disinformation on this level of this type is directly contributing to the deaths of hundreds of civilians on the ground. And I am going to explain exactly why and how this is happening, why articles like these are directly contributing to civilian deaths on the ground. So let's cut to the chase. Mainstream news outlets such as the New York Post, Business Insider, and many others are claiming that Russia is forcibly taking the citizens of Mariupol to concentration camps. Now, any sane thinking person, upon hearing this, would first of all wonder, why are the Russians doing this? This doesn't seem to benefit them in any way. Why would they round up random citizens from Mariupol and spend all of the resources that are required to transport and forcibly detain them in these massive camps? So this is a very strange and extraordinary claim. Now, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So a thinking person would ask, what are the sources for this? Where is this information coming from? And said sources are indeed cited in these articles. Now, you want to know what these sources are? I don't think that this is going to surprise many people. All of these sources are, wait for it, the Ukrainian government. More specifically, the former city officials of Mariupol. I say former because the city is no longer under their control. All of these officials fled Mariupol when the fighting began. And instead of being there on the ground, helping their people evacuate the city that has been subject to what is perhaps one of the worst urban battles since the Second World War, instead of doing any of that, they are sitting somewhere far away from the battlefield, making up these ridiculous lies about Mariupol's residents being forced into Russian concentration camps. And of course, we have Western media picking up on this just at the snap of a finger. Because mainstream media in the West is just obsessed with these fantasies about concentration camps and how literally every single one of its geopolitical rivals is randomly putting millions of its own people into these Hitler-style concentration camps. That is just the level of critical thinking and understanding of how the world works in mainstream media. And I am referring to the residents of Mariupol as Russia's own people because it belongs to the Donbas republics, which will undoubtedly join Russia when this conflict ends. But anyways, going back to these absurd claims about concentration camps. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of the alleged concentration camps in China, where Western media also unilaterally, without any solid evidence, started claiming that millions upon millions of people were being held in these super secret camps, which realistically would have to be the size of an entire country to house the number of people that they were claimed to house, not to mention all of the guards and other workers that such facilities would have to have. And in the context of China, the evidence for the existence of such camps, which again would require millions of staffers and would have to be collectively the size of a small country, was essentially, trust us, bro, just trust us. You don't need any evidence, just trust us. And we are basically seeing the same thing happening with Russia now, just on a slightly smaller scale. What is the evidence for the existence of these camps where tens of thousands of people have already allegedly been taken to? Trust us, bro. Just trust us. Why is it so hard to trust us? Ukrainian officials said so, therefore it must be true. Zelensky is a war hero. Trust us. And to my absolute horror and amazement, a lot of people actually do blindly believe this utter crap. I've even been personally contacted by people who have told me that they can't believe what's happening because they read this media article that is talking about how Russians are just randomly rounding up tens of thousands of the residents of Mariupol and taking them to these camps, which, by the way, these media articles openly compare with Nazi Germany and with Hitler's concentration camps. And some of the residents of Mariupol believe this crap as well, as a result of which they haven't evacuated from their city even as a horrific battle is going on. Now, in their case, I can understand them a little bit. Because if you're a resident of Mariupol and you're seeing this horrific war break out, a war which few people thought would happen, and suddenly you don't have access to electricity, to heating, you don't have internet access, therefore you do not have any access to outside information. Bodies of dead combatants and non-combatants are piling up in the streets of your city, and suddenly your city's authorities come out with this horrific news that the Russians are taking people to concentration camps, and you are scared, as most people would be in such a situation, scared for your own life, as well as for the lives of your family members, and your whole world has already turned upside down since this war began, then, in that situation, it is understandable that some people would panic. To be clear, I do not hold the residents of Mariupol who have fallen for this crap and have suffered as a result to be responsible for anything that has happened. I hold the authorities of Mariupol to be responsible. And I also hold these trash media outlets who parrot this absurd crap without any evidence besides Ukrainian officials said so, to also be responsible for everything that has happened as a result. The result is that even as Russia opened many humanitarian corridors, telling the residents of the city to leave before the battle gets even uglier, giving every opportunity for people trapped in the city to get the hell out, Ukrainian government officials, from the municipal level to the federal level, have done absolutely everything to sabotage all of these evacuation efforts, including opening fire on civilian cars attempting to leave the city. And as a direct result, a lot more people were trapped in the city of Mariupol than there would have otherwise been when the ugly street-to-street fighting started, which directly led to a lot more civilian deaths than there would have otherwise been. And once again, I will emphasize that Western mainstream media is in part responsible for all of this. Now, as for people who are not in the city of Mariupol, who do have access to outside information, and who still read and believe this utter crap, I can only say, what the hell is wrong with you? In a second, I'm going to show a video of refugees fleeing Mariupol. Now keep in mind that the video was filmed only a few weeks ago. It was filmed after Russian soldiers and pro-Russian forces seized control of most of the city.
Беженцы стоят в очереди, ждут своего часа, чтобы выехать из Мариуполя. Вот что натворил господин Зеленский со своей шайкой бандеровцами, нациками, шайтанами. Куда вы смотрите, украинский народ? Чего вы ждете? Берите все в свои руки, управляйте страной, выберите достойного президента. Он уже не президент и никто, и никак его звать. Посмотрите, эти люди бедные. Я вообще поражаюсь, как вы так могли допустить ситуации до такой степени. Даже не знаю сказать, сплоченной. Из-за некоторых группировок вы продали патриотизм ваших отцов, дедов. Мы же всегда жили в братских отношениях. Россия, Украина, Запад вас любят, или Европа вас любит, нет, вас использовали, да, те лаборатории, которые у вас строили, да, это не просто, у них план на 100 лет вперед, да, поэтому не делайте так, чтобы через Украину, да, уничтожили, да, всего человечества. Так что я вас уверяю, да, мы уничтожим всех бандеровцев и всех шайтанов. Мы поможем украинскому народу.
Did you see that? A kilometer-long line of cars. People are leaving Mariupol on cars. Not everybody, obviously, but many people. Those who can leave on cars, which is the majority of people, are leaving Mariupol on their own personal cars. Now, according to Western propaganda, they're driving towards Russian concentration camps. Concentration camps, which many articles openly compare to those that were seen in Nazi Germany. Can you imagine, even for a second, in World War II, let's say a Jewish family or a Slavic family getting into their own personal car and just driving to Auschwitz? Just, casually driving up to this concentration camp, finding a parking lot with a few empty parking spaces, parking their vehicle, getting out and talking to the camp's administration. I mean, if we're taking Western propaganda at face value, it's either that or every one of these cars has a Russian soldier in the back seat who has a gun pointed at the driver's head and is directing the driver to drive to the camp. As in, literally, yes, comrade, you must drive 500 meters, then make a left turn, then drive 600 meters, then make a right turn, and you'll be at the camp. And honestly, I just don't have any more words. The sheer stupidity and malice of propaganda such as this is too much. This needs to be remembered. That's all I'll say. And that's what I always say in all of my videos. Lies such as these ones need to be remembered. They need to be remembered so that after this war ends, mainstream media will be forever and completely discredited for all of the malicious lies that they have spread during this conflict. And not just in this conflict, but in many other conflicts around the world as well. And once again, thank you for watching this video. I hope that you either found it informative or interesting, maybe even both. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and also be sure to check out my backup channel on Rumble. As always, links are in the description, both to these articles and to my Rumble channel, or if you are already watching this on Rumble, then the link will be to my YouTube channel.